Hi, my name is Michael Trout, and I want to talk to you about our Open Incubator Framework and how it can help you. If you're an entrepreneur, if you have an idea for a startup, if you are tired of what you're doing, whatever, and you want to basically be your own boss and do your own thing, maybe you're thinking about this great idea and you really don't know where to start. Well, I can help you. I can provide you basically a framework that when you launch as a startup, you will be successful. You have to understand that 99% of all startups fail. Now, what I'm referring to is 99% of all startup ideas. So I have one a business and I start to assemble the team and all of that. 99% of those fail. So if 99% fail, you're probably thinking, why on earth should I be an entrepreneur and launch my own startup? Well, the reason is, one is people don't tell you that they fail, and the other thing too is that if you have a framework for success, you don't need to fail. Now, I've done startups for the last 16 years off and on, and to be honest, it depends on how you equate success. I've only had a few successes. Most of the startups that I have been a part of, you could call failures. And after doing it 16 years, you start to ask yourself, well, what are the systemic problems? What are the issues? Why am I failing? Because, intelligent people ask those questions. And over the years, I've tried doing things differently and differently and differently and differently and coming up with new ways and so on and so on. What I realized is the two things that is, the one thing that is most, not two things, but the one thing, or well, there are two. The two things that are most important for success is one, who you know, and two, how much money you have. Why are those two things important is because just like you watch all the bad movies out there, who you know means you can raise the money. And if you have money, who you know may not be that important because you can just do it yourself, and a lot of people will follow you and follow your lead just because you have money and you're doing it. So if you don't really have a network, and I have a network of over 17 million, 3-tier down on LinkedIn. I'm connected to the Eric Rieses and the Dave McClures and the host of other leading CEOs, successful CEOs out there, and they're part of my network. And even though they're part of my network, doesn't mean that they're really help me out or anything else. They're I don't know why they're part of my network, but maybe they're interested because maybe Michael Trout will launch something that truly will be significant. And then when he does, I can say, hey, I'm part of your network. Because I would join their network for them to help me. And it just by having them in your network doesn't mean shit. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't mean shit. So I'm not going to tell you, oh, I got Dave McClure, so if you join me, I'm going to need Dave McClure to help you. No, I can do better than that. Well, I can do better because I believe that I've identified the systemic problems and I've created a framework to help you. And if you'll stop thinking about your project as a startup and start thinking about it as a Foundup, you're going to have a significantly greater chance of success. And now let me explain why. First off, let me explain what a startup is, because before as Plato says, let's define the terms before before we talk about have the debate. So a startup is a very specific thing, and I believe I'm the only guy in the world who has finally cracked it and defined it. And I challenge anyone to actually come up with a better definition than mine. I think it's better than Dave McClure's, Eric Riese's, or anyone else's out there. Steve Blank's, I don't even know if he has one, but MBA programs don't have a definition. And it's really strange because you'd think they would have a definition of a startup. And for the most part, a startup's defined as a new venture, right? Well, that doesn't really do anything. That doesn't define a startup. Anything can be a new venture. So let me define a startup, and it has new venture in it. So a startup is, the first thing, it's a legal entity that is pursuing a highly risky service, solution, or product, new venture, that has a niche customer base or customer, or seed investors willing to get it to its niche customers in an X period of time or in a specific time frame, or a combination of the two. Now, what I've just given you is a very specific, succinct definition that can be applied to any new business idea, and it will tell you right then whether or not you are a startup. So, if you take that definition, apply it to your project or idea, and you have those three things: a customer or seed investors, legal entity, right? Then you are a startup. If you do not, well, you are a Foundup. Now, unfortunately, right now, I'm the only guy, well, unless you want to buy licensed Foundup, that has the Foundup. I guess you could say, well, yeah, I could call myself anything. Well, you can, but you're not a startup. However, the business world and the business community and all the leadership will define your project as a startup, will incorrectly define your project. And by starting off by incorrectly defining what you are, you've just significantly increased your chance of failure, because you don't realize what you really need to do. You're off chasing incorporation, you're off chasing lawyers, you're off chasing all these different things that basically are going to add to your chances of failure. Understand that. Because when you realize, you had that come to Jesus, I'm a Foundup, that weight is lifted from your shoulders, and all of a sudden you realize that, as a Foundup, my job is very specific. A Foundup is a founder, like yourself, with an idea for a lean startup. And a lean startup is important. You should understand what Eric Ries is talking about, customer validation, everything else. Bootstrapping, not spending a lot of money, a prototype or a proof of concept, something that can show investors, something that can get you a customer. Because without a prototype, without a proof of concept, how on the earth can you get customers, right? You can't. So, it's you're pursuing a type of startup. You ultimately have a vehicle to do it. So, as a Foundup, your focus is very specific. Your focus, number one, is your team. Now, on a Foundup, we only have team members and advisors. And I'll explain what those are at a later date, or I have if you search through my videos. But basically, team members, advisors. We don't waste our times with titles or anything else. Team members or advisors. Secondly, you're seeking partners. Now, there are two kinds of partners too. We call prime partners, and we call strategic partners. Strategic partners and prime partners. And again, I will, if you decide to, use us, I'll explain this. I'll work with you one-on-one with your project to help you. And the third thing, and the most important thing, is we're focused on securing our niche customer. Now, that's it. We don't worry about incorporating. We don't worry about any of that stuff. We don't worry about attorneys or fees or anything else. We worry about team, partners, and customer. Some things that, let me tell you how, some things that they're, startups have business plans. Foundups have short strategic plans, no more than 10 pages, one page, 10 page. And a deck, a presentation, okay? Most important is a presentation. Startups have titles, CEO and this crap and that crap, CXO and all this stuff. Foundups don't. They have team member, as I mentioned, advisor. Startups are legal entities. Foundups don't have to be. They could be, but they don't have to be. It's a distraction, in my opinion, right? Because ultimately, through our open incubator, we become your legal entity, Foundups Corp. Isn't that a beautiful thing? You don't need you have a C corporation headquartered in Washington, D.C., incorporated in Delaware, basically becoming your legal entity. Now, and being able to, if you need patents done or anything done, you do it through our legal entity. If you need attorneys, we do it through our legal entity. Everything we do is through our legal entity to protect you, protect you as an individual versus you doing it yourself. So there's that opportunity. The other thing is, there's other things and I have a presentation. If you watch our presentation, what's a Foundup, and it's very easily, it's what's FU, yeah, on bit.ly, bit.ly, what's :// what's, or whatever, what's FU. I'll put it, just check this, look down there, it's there. It will give you more detail. But Foundups are very specific, very lean methodology for launching your idea. We take away all the systemic problems, we focus on what's important, and our cost is, we have a great cost. It only costs $500 a year to basically be part of Foundups Corp, to use our Open Incubator Framework, to get me on your team. You get Michael Trout on your team for your project, and ultimately, I will be helping you with setting up your company's social media. We have a certain way that we set up our social media. There's certain things that we do, and helping you with your launching your project. $500 is not a lot of money a year. I'm the cheapest thing out there, and the reason why I'm $500 is because I want to make it affordable. It's the same cost instead of you incorporating. And maybe you're in places of the world where incorporation is, some places it's like $30,000 to incorporate a business, like Greece. You can not worry about that. So give me a call, talk to me about your idea. I'm always available to talk, and I'll always be available to every one of my stakeholders and friends and colleagues and acquaintances. You can reach me at 202-360-4467. Tell me about your idea, and get started. We can start launching your project tomorrow. If you want to learn more, you can watch different videos, foundups.com, foundups.org, startupgin, G-I-N, startupgin.com. However, that's actually, that's a private presentation. I'm going to reuse that link actually for what's a Foundup, Startup Gin. Anyway, beautiful day here in Japan. So I hope this video has provided you some thought, food for thought. And I hope you'll contact me, and I hope you'll be part of what I'm doing. And I hope to be a part of what you're doing.